Did the Vancouver Canucks trade the wrong guy? Yeah, I know. It's kind of it's a silly talking point for some people. For others, it's more of a kind of salt in the wound kind of thing. But, like, ultimately, I do understand both points of views, right? Obviously, when talking about the big JT Miller trade of a few weeks ago, a lot of folks in Vancouver will say that with Miller's resurgence of points and Pettersson's lack of actual improvement on a consistent basis, there is reason to believe that the Vancouver Canucks made themselves worse. But then again, it's like, they were winning a little bit without Miller, and then they started to lose a little bit, and now Pettersson's getting snarky with the media. And now, if we take a look at what's been going on across the continent in New York, it starts to sting a little bit. This video, though, is not exclusively about the New York Rangers acquisition and how he's been doing, but it's also talking about some other Canucks stuff with guys that are still on this team. Yeah, we're all Canucks talk today, baby. Lots of really, really big topics. So this show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. You know what? Let's actually start with the Vancouver angle, because this does relate to the Vancouver Canucks, because Rick Dhaliwal said earlier on today's Donnie and Dolly show, more than one person has told me not to rule out the idea of Brock Boeser re-signing in Vancouver. And a lot of people have been going out there snarkily and replying to this thought in the comment section of the subreddit and everything else, saying, oh, crazy. The Canucks might sign him. They might not. How incredible of an update is that, Rick Dhaliwal? Thank you for giving us the scoop and for letting us know. There is an element of sarcasm that Canucks fans present when they say things like that, but ultimately, it is just kind of weird, in my opinion, to get a reminder that, the Canucks could very well re-sign Brock Boeser, and even with a comment like this being made at this time, it's like, maybe we shouldn't rule it out. Maybe it's not a foregone conclusion. Maybe the doomsday clock really is going backwards and the end is not near, like we had spoken about in that Watchmen-themed video a few days ago. Maybe Brock Boeser does stay. It's just, at this point, I do feel kind of weird thinking that that's going to happen, because I still fall into the category of thinking where it's like, this management team, they're so direct, assertive, and quick at what they want to do. They're so proactive. Oh, a guy that we signed is not doing well? Sorry, bye-bye Daniel Sprong. Oh, multiple guys that we signed are not doing well? Okay. Sorry, Eric Bronstrom. Sorry, Vinny Desharnais. Sorry, Danton Heinen. Okay, we need to make ourselves an addition. Let's go out there and trade for Nikita Zadorov. We need to trade Kuzmenko. Okay, great. Elias Lindholm, come on down. We need to re-sign guys that we had just acquired because they need contracts. Okay, Marcus Pettersson. Thank you. Drew O'Connor, you're here. Thank you. Kevin Lankinen, we need to re-sign you right now because Thatcher Demko is hurt again and we can't rely on him. Brock Boeser has been in no man's land when it comes to him getting any sort of a deal. We have heard no rumblings about the two sides being close in any respect. And with that in mind, it's like, okay, well, normally, if you were thinking from the Vancouver is quick-witted point of view, you would say maybe the Canucks would have traded Boeser by now. If they know they can't re-sign him, they know they can't bring him back, then get him off the team. Or use him as their own rental like we had discussed, which is just a ridiculous idea in my opinion. But now it's like, they might not actually use him as a rental. They might use him as a longer-term guy. And when you think about it, Boeser might be wanting 7 or 8 years in a $7.5 million AAV range. The cap's going up. Everybody knows this. His agent knows this. He knows it, so he could get more money than he had before. But is he really worth it? Even with a higher cap hit, is there still value in Brock Boeser at, let's say, $7.5 million a year? Does he fit the identity of what the team wants to build? The fact that he hasn't signed yet, in my opinion, is the biggest red flag. But at the same time, it's like last year was a big outlier year for Boeser. The 40-goal year, 70 points. Part of the reason why Boeser was able to score so much is because JT Miller was feeding him left, right, and center. It was working really well. Boeser, in the post-JT Miller era, has 2 goals and 0 assists in 7 games. Is this really the kind of guy that demands $7.5 million and it's actually worth it for him? I don't know. I get that he's a smart player and he's got good shot mechanics and he's got good board battle abilities, but he's slow. And I don't think that Boeser's skill set really fits with the identity that Rick Tocchet wants on a team, especially without JT Miller there to compensate for that. When Miller and Boeser were together, they're pretty good. They're dynamite together last year. That was a duo that Rick Tocchet wanted to build off of, and it worked for the most part. And so with all that ammo in mind, it does seem like a surprise, in my opinion, to hear that the Canucks and Boeser could very well just re-sign and there would be some sort of a continuance of service here and he'd play the next 7-8 years in Vancouver till 2033 or something. Like, there better not be any trade protection on that contract if he wants to go in the $7-8 million range, right? JT Miller didn't have any trade protection. Now he's in New York, and the Canucks made the trade. So, yeah, speaking about JT Miller, let's talk about him one more time, because JT, in the 2 games since coming back from the Four Nations faceoff, where he didn't get any points, by the way, he had a whole bunch of penalty minutes and some shots, but he didn't score anything at the Four Nations. Miller had 2 assists in the Rangers' 8-2 loss against Buffalo, but then he also had 2 goals yesterday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's 4 points in 2 nights for JT Miller on the weekend. And I wanted to show off a tweet here. This is one of the goals that Miller ended up scoring yesterday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was an on-the-rush 2-on-1 opportunity. He's got Alexis Lafreniere on the left side. He looks him off. Instead of making the pass, he just decides to grip it and rip it, and it's a classic JT Miller snipe. He just rips it top corner. It's a really nice play. Tej went out there and tweeted this, saying, "Miller is scoring a big goal. Right now, we are celebrating a Petey shot when we see one." Another reply says, "Hey, forget a shot. I'm celebrating if Elias Pettersson makes a good pass." JT with the Rangers is over a point per game. 8 points in 7 games. That's more points that he had production-wise, point per game-wise, compared to what he had in Vancouver this season. I mean, he had 100 points last year. I get it. You know, we have no idea how long JT Miller is going to be able to be a legitimate point-producing threat at the National Hockey League level, especially with the way that he plays, the style that he has, just the intangibles and the physicality there. His body could age out as quickly as 2 years from now. Who really knows? It was always a better bet to take a gamble on the younger center, like Pettersson, who can be more dynamic, who does have better deking ability, who does have a higher hockey IQ when he is at his best. When Pettersson is playing his best hockey, he is the superior player and he is younger. So with Miller being older and more prone to having these bad stretches like he had a few seasons ago and this season too with Vancouver, it made sense in my mind to trade away Miller, who was on the declining curve of that development path. Pettersson is in the prime, right? He's supposed to be the 100-point guy, but it does sting. It really does. And yeah, now Pettersson, we're celebrating when he gets a shot. They're like, oh, if he takes a one-timer, yes, let's go, he's back! Pettersson's back! He's got a one-timer! Like, okay, JT Miller's got 2 goals. JT Miller's got 4 points in 2 games. What else is there that you want out of Petey? Maybe making these YouTube videos is contributing to the negativity, isn't it? And I know a lot of people would go out there and say, yes, it is, Lego, it definitely is, but like, even if I didn't make these YouTube videos, this is kind of the main point that I wanted to articulate before we end off today's show. Even if I don't go out there and make these gosh darn YouTube videos, everybody's still going to be negative anyways. Anybody go on the Reddit? Everybody go on to Instagram? You check out the radio shows and programming on this market that is so disappointed with the team that we are watching? Even if I wasn't making these gosh darn videos, everybody would still be negative, so why not go out there and get my 2 cents in there too? Because guess what? I am negative as well. Ay, ay, ay. Do you still believe in Elias Pettersson? I don't know. This isn't even about him. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Brock Boeser and the idea that he could actually resign, and Rick Dhaliwal's update that the contract signing, contract amicable parting of the ways, it's not guaranteed yet, but the possibility is there that he does come back. And what are your thoughts on JT Miller? 4 points in 2 games. How do you feel about that? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.